scale station, when you go by, guess what I hear? I hear the air leak, and guess what I'm doing then? I'm yelling for you to pull over. All right. The other thing I want to discuss is whenever you get an out-of-service violation, you understand you cannot drive until that out-of-service is fixed, right? We're usually going to take you somewhere and say, usually I try to take you to a truck stop so you can eat your chips and drink your sodas. That. A lot of them have mechanics so they can fix your problems right there, all right? So we usually will escort you to, that doesn't necessarily mean we're going to do that because sometimes we can't escort you because the violation's so bad. All right? Once you fix an out-of-service violation, then you continue to drive, but it has to be fixed. Now, if you got a violation for hours of service or you got alcohol in your breath, I may tell you you cannot drive until this time. That's the difference. There are some times where you're out of service until you're eligible to drive again based on what your hours are, or if certain things like alcohol, you could be put out of service for 24 hours. All right? The second thing is if you have equipment violation. Say you have equipment violation and you have 2-3 equipment violations. And we're going from Houston to Lake Charles with this load. All right? And I stop you in Beaumont. Well, since you're not out of service, you can continue on with that dispatch. But once you get to Lake Charles and you drop that load off, and before you get redispatched to your next load, those equipment violations have to be fixed. All right? So you say you didn't do that. Now you come back through, and Anthony stops you in Anahuac that afternoon. Well, here's the deal. When I do my inspection and I get undone, he goes in, all of a sudden he stops you, guess what? He sees that you were just inspected, he pulls it up, and he looks at it, he sees, oh, we had all these violations. So he goes and does an inspection on you, and he sees those same violations. Well, then you're going to be popped for failed to repair a truck before redispatched. All right. Then on as far as driver violations like your logbooks and all that, you have 15 days to certify. When I say certify, when you get your inspection, when there's been a violation on it, at the very bottom is called a certification. All right. That's where you're going to tell us, you mechanic, service guy, whatever is going to tell us that you fixed those items. All right. All of them have to be turned in within 15 days, all right? Now, it's important because when we go do an audit, they're going to bring the inspections that we've done, and then they're going to ask your company to furnish those certifications, all right? Because they have to maintain that stuff for, I believe, 6 months, all right? Now, you think your fines are heavy and you get a ticket? When they get an audit, your company gets an audit, and they get fined, for every little thing. You go through your logbook and all those foreign manners, they find that you weren't doing it correctly. Well, each one of those is going to have a numerical money value to it. All right, and I can tell you this personally. I had a guy that had about $8,000. That he was on the impound list, so we had to go to the bank so we can get a loan to pay the state back the $8,000 so we can get his truck back. Because once you're on the impound list, you're not leaving with the truck. Right? One of the guys in the Houston office over in Caldwell got a guy who was leaving $32,000 or $34,000, and he couldn't pay it, so his truck was taken. Right? The highest one I've seen or I've heard of was like $130-something thousand. Now he's going to do a walk around as an inspection. He's now going to do an inspection on the side of the road.
Hey, real quick on that dispatch thing, still there's some confusion on that. Best example I give, if somebody here, where's the dispatcher? Okay, right here. So if your dispatcher calls you right now and says, jump in this truck and go to Lake Charles and come back here. Okay? That's one dispatch. So if you get popped on the way to Lake Charles and they find something wrong, you're not required to get it fixed until you get back here. Now, if they say, take this load and run to Lake Charles, you get to Lake Charles and she calls you on the phone and says, hey, now we need you to go to Baton Rouge. That's a new dispatch. Does everybody understand the difference between what you're being dispatched with?
Yeah, it's whatever your dispatch is. If you're sent from here to there to come back. But if you go there, and that was your dispatch to go there, then you got enough dispatch to bring the load back here to another place or bring it back here. It was a redispatch.
Does that make a little bit better sense?
Here with round trip dispatch, you're good, they can get back to the
Until you get back here.
So if you put a D, you can buy it, you have to pull it over, see it on there. As long as I'm coming back here, I'm okay.
On the original dispatch.
Okay.
So that goes, some of y'all are like local for delivery here in Houston, right? That's what I was talking to one of the other guys about. So I would think the same thing applies. If you get handed 10 load sheets this morning, and during the course of your day you get stopped for something, you find out that you're not required to get fixed until you end up back here at the end of the day. That was part of your original dispatch. Now, once you get back here and they hand you another staff, that's when it's got to be fixed before you take that set. That makes sense? Hey, y'all come in together, we'll have to go over it. So some things, has anybody here ever been inspected? Never had an inspection? Everybody's been inspected before. So, one thing, here's something that you can gain from what I'm about to do. I'm gonna say some stuff out loud that you may not even know that we're looking at. Because if I can see it myself, I usually don't tell you that I'm even looking at it. Okay? I walk up, basically gonna tell you what the highway patrol, we're gonna do a random safety check. I always wait. All inspections are conducted a little different. It all depends on the inspector. I always tell the driver, hang on to all your paperwork, we'll take it back to the truck and we'll deal with that later. I want to look at the truck right now. So I'll tell them go ahead and step on the brake and hold it. All I'm looking for here is that you gauge to see if it's dropping or not. If it's dropping consistently and the engine's running and the catch-up pressure, the reservoir pressure doesn't go back up again, that tells me you have a major leak back here somewhere. Somewhere, I just got to find it. That's something that's easy to do on your pre-check. Put the engine off, and your air pressure's built up, cut your engine off and leave the ignition on and not running so you can hear it. Just push on the brake, stick your head out the door and just listen, see if you hear anything. If you hear anything at all that sounds like air coming out, that's a violation right there. So if you get stopped, you're going to get hammered. So you might as well go ahead and figure out now where it's coming from while you're still sitting here in the yard. Are you going to hear like a little pinhole leak? Probably not. It's still a violation, but it is what it is. Here I would tell them to go ahead and pump the brake. Now I'm looking to see if you're alarm. Door alarm. Or I can already know it. So you should have the light, you should have the auto alarm. If you don't have neither, then you're out of service. You're going to get parked until one of those until they get fixed properly. Go ahead and turn all the lights on. Usually I'll tell the driver reach over and flip the defroster on. The defroster is a required item. I just want to hear that the blower is actually coming on. If I don't hear anything come on at all, then that's a violation. The defroster's got to work. A lot of people don't know about the defroster. The fire extinguisher, usually if they're mounted over here, I'll just look down at the gauge. As long as I see that it's full, I'm not even going to tell you I'm even looking at it. So just keep an eye on that fire extinguisher. That's one of the big ones that he had on the list up there on the screen that a lot of violations are found with. We're going to find it anyway. So it's almost like a dead giveaway when I see the fire extinguisher mounted right here and it's flipped upside down with the gauge is aiming at the floor. I'm going to unbuckle it and look at it anyway, so you might as well just go ahead and leave it facing upright. I'll go get you a new one. Another item up here is the seat belt. A lot of people don't look at either. I don't ever tell drivers I'm looking at it. I just look to make sure it's actually bolted to the frame of the seat and that there's no cuts in the actual strap itself. So that's something you might want to just look at periodically and make sure it's still in good shape. From here, we're going to go ahead and go to the front of the truck. Can I jump out? You can hop out of this. Just leave the light on.
What you said?
I almost lost my Coke. I waited over there.
What's in that Sprite?
One of the safety, you're going to carry the over.
No.
So, there was a myth. Up here on the top, you got your 3 ID lamps and your 2 clearance lamps. So this truck right here is set up to exactly what the requirements are. So this is what the lights we're looking for. There was a myth floating around where if you had a whole bunch of lights up there and one was out, that's not the case. All we're looking for is the 3 ID lamps in the middle and the 2 clearance lamps on the sides.
Oh, there's 3 of them? Oh, okay.
If you have a whole bunch of lights on your truck and you have a light out, that's not a violation.
It used to be, didn't it?
No.
Maybe before my time, I don't
Yeah,
know,
okay.
but I've heard that several times.
Yeah.
It could just be truck stop rumor. I don't know. Up here at the front, we make sure your license plate's actually mounted right. So as long as you're like this, then you're fine. Your left turn signal, your right turn signal, and do your high beam, low beam. Make sure your high beams are working in the front. And then your emergency signals, obviously, are going to blink too. You would catch that side of it? So in y'all's case, I've stopped a couple of y'all's trucks in the Winnie Scale House over there, and I haven't really encountered any problems with y'all. But your overcar mirrors on the left and right. So if you're missing this one, but you have this one in front of you, fine. If you're missing this one, but you still have this one, you're in good shape. As long as you have one on the left and right looking to the rear. Somebody asked earlier if these were overpowered. No. Up here in the front, these hoses here are notorious through all the vibration and stuff, but they'll start leaking right here. Okay. If we find that, that's out of service. The only way that you're going to have an air leak that's not out of service is if it's at the proper connection itself. So if your tape blows out up here and it's leaking here, it's a violation, but it's not going to be marked out of service. It's not going to be made to part. Okay? But if we find pretty much on every air hose that we look at, if there's leaking anywhere other than a proper connection.
You'll be able to hear it there, right?
Yeah, you can hear it. If you pop the hood, you can hear these. A lot of times you might want to have somebody else, because sometimes on some of these hoses, depending on where they go, if you push on the brake, you won't hear it unless you push on the brake. So just look here and look here. Your power steering, it can't have any leaks at all. You're gonna be put out of service. Your pitman arm and your drive shaft, gear shaft, it shouldn't have any play in it. So just grab them and shake them. Like these, I already messed with them earlier. I don't want to get my hands dirty again. But you grab these, they don't move at all. That's what you're looking for. If it starts shaking a little bit, you might want to go and bring it up. That means your shoe points are starting to have to be questionable while they're going out on the run.
Where are you grabbing it down here?
Right here. Just grab this.
Oh, yeah.
Give it a good tug. On the wheels, this applies all the way down the trunk. As I start walking back, so your wheel itself, like you showed you on that PowerPoint, shouldn't have any cracks in it. Your fasteners, if you have one fastener loose, that's a violation. If you have two together, that's what's going to park you. That's going to be out of service. So if you have two loose together, that's going to park you. Your hub, this is kind of a gray area. I don't like it. The way I do inspections, like I said, every inspection, every agency is different, okay? One of the guys from the last group brought up a good point. He said that his was just caked with grease because it was old and had been on there. This goes back to keeping your truck clean. If I look at it and I see a whole bunch of stuff and it's just dirty and got oil and stuff all around here, if I don't personally see it dripping, then I don't mess with it. Once it starts dripping where I can see the drop falling, then that's when I'm gonna write the violation and put you out of service for it. So
Yeah, because sometimes they just overfill them.
if they overfill them or something like that, or sometimes I've caught them where they actually have oil still sitting in the wheel because they refilled it. As long as I don't see it dripping, then you're good to go. All agencies are different.
Right,
That's why I'm about that.
Right. I try to clean them off with a glove.
Tires. All right. So each one of these tread groups right here is what's called a major tread group. So a lot of times on the trailers, we'll see them where the driver locks it up or the trailer brakes are set kind of tight and they step on the brake and it slides. Well, if it puts a flat spot across any two major tread groups.
Oh, together.
So what that means is these right here, these, or all the way across. So if it crosses two of these and you have a flat spot that's less than 230 seconds, that's when it's a violation. That's when it's got to be changed.
Oh, that's good.
Now on the front tire, that's got to be 430 seconds. Every tire on the rest of the truck is 230 seconds. I think that was it here. Let's move between them. Until I personally get more training and update, I'm not going to cover anything to do with this thing. So to tell you the truth, I don't know a whole lot about it. One thing I didn't cover with the other group is, as I'm walking, it's not, we're creatures of habit. So I have a tendency to look at things that I find wrong a lot. And a lot of times it's with the exhaust. And I didn't even cover this with the other group. All it takes is just to bend down and look at your exhaust system. What happens when you have a leak? What's it do to the pipe?
Black.
Anybody know? Turns it what?
Turns it black.
Turns it black where the soot's coming out of the pipe, right? That's all I'm looking for when I've been down and look at that thing. There ain't nothing technical about it. If I look down there and I see it like a black area coming off or straight, I climb underneath there and actually feel the air coming out, and now you have an exhaust leak violation. On the trailer itself, looking this way, you got two required clearance lights up here on the top, left and right. They both have to work. These hoses right here are about the number one reason why I get trucks out of service. If you have a leak, in here with your grommet out, that is a violation, but this is a proper connection. So it's just a violation, not out of service. If you have a pinhole here, you're done. You're gonna get parked until you get it fixed. These hoses here are probably, in my opinion, are the best ones we have. I don't like the red and blues because they kink. If they kink, you're done. You got to service. And once they kink, they always stay kink. They don't ever go back to the original shape again. This one here, if y'all can see it real good, right the head like good example. So this hose has an inner hose, and it's wrapped in webbing. And then you have this black outer hose that you're looking at now. If I see a cut like this, and that's all I'm gonna do is walk back here and literally trace this hose and see if I see any location spots. I see a cut in it like that. What I'm looking for, see that webbing in there? If that webbing's been messed with, or if it's frayed sticking out, then that's the end of the block. Once that is jacked with, that's when you get put out of service. So in this particular hose right now, looking at that, I wouldn't put you out of service. Okay.
Do you get a violation?
No. Not until once you put the violation of damaged hose on the truck, it's automatic out of service. You can't control it. So one agency may interpret that differently. You know, my advice to you is if you see something like that, just go ahead and change it. Because it ain't gonna be long before that frays out anyway. And then you order that issue, no matter what it is. Yeah.
You have to leave the hole and go off the someone drag it, someone also drag it
So if I walk up and it's like this?
Yeah.
It's nothing to me. We actually, DPS has an operational policy. And what that does is clarify a lot of things that have been confusing out there and that we try to stick to a standard with. And that's how you get rolled up for chafing air hoses. So they got onto us a while back about what is chafing. So the definition that they came up with for the inspectors that are out in the field doing this is if I walk up and let's say, like this right here, this is a good example. See how that looks right there? If that is right here and it's sitting like this when I walk up and I can tell that it's actively rubbing while I'm looking at it, then you'll get the chafing violation. Now, if I see this right here, but it looks just like that, is it chafing right now? No, so I'm not going to put it on the inspection.
Oh.
I have to actually actively catch the chafing while I'm doing the inspection and actually put it on the inspection.
Do you have chain protection on it? Do you have that in chain protection on it?
So if this spot right here, if it had a hose going around it,
Yeah, chain protection. It's plastic tubing going around it.
that's fine.
Okay.
And if that's chafing, then that's not the hose, so you still good.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you're wrapping this right here in that plastic stuff, it can rub all day long.
Yeah, it's like conduit.
So sometimes I might, if it looks questionable, I might take it off for a minute just to look at the actual hose itself. But I could care less what it's doing to the actual piece that y'all put on, or wrap it in tape.
Well, that's not great. Couldn't we?
Say like from like here back.
You can. The inspector might take it off though.
Well, I mean, but I'm saying like
No, there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, you can put the spacers there, or you can put zip ties on there. See, I would, you know, just be careful with what you do, because sometimes I think you see something like that in the golden and they're trying to protect it. The clearance clearance already discussed. Back here, they recently made a new out of service violation. I haven't actually found myself yet, but if you get a rock ledged in between your dual set of tires, and we doing the inspection, we see like a big rock in here or something, that's actually out of service now.
Wow.
Apparently
What'd you say?
Somewhere in the United States, they had a rock stuck in between a dual set of tires and slung it out the back, and it kills somebody.
Between the two tires.
So they made that an out of service violation now.
And then it's only out of-
if he doesn't know, you just driving, you just went inside you stop the driver, the driver doesn't know the rock is there. So
One of those things.
don't give a ticket to the driver for that.
Yeah.
Well, it's only out of service till you get the rock out, right?
Well, let me go ahead and address this because it got brought up too. So when I say violation is anything that's found wrong with the truck that gets annotated on your inspection. Now, it's going to be up to your inspector and the agency on whether or not that's a warning or a ticket.
Oh.
Me personally, and all I can speak for is myself, I was trained that if I find something that can kill somebody, then that's when you get the ticket. So I find your old truck looks good and I see one ID light out, that's usually a warning. I'm never going to give somebody a ticket for a license plate light or an ID light being out. But I'll see two bad tires on the same axle, then yeah, you're going to get a ticket. almost any out of service violation I would find, which has already been deemed by the federal government to be unsafe. That's why you're out of service. I mean, it's bad enough to where you have to park the truck for safety reasons. Right. And of course, you're probably going to get a ticket, most likely. That's just one of those situations. I mean, if you got something stuck in there while you're driving and then you get stopped for inspection, it gets found. I mean, it is what it is.
Like the headlight.
I'm glad you said that. I didn't even address that. So if you have one headlight out, it's a violation. Once you lose both of them at nighttime, then that's when you become out of service. Your left and right turn signals up front, if either one of them are out, it's a violation, but you're not out of service up front. When we get to the back, I'll address when it becomes an out of service violation. Down here real quick, just something to glance at from time to time. These bolts up here on your kingpin, that's actually what's holding your kingpin down on the tractor. So you can imagine what happens if you lose all those bolts. You're gonna lose the kingpin and the entire trailer behind you. So if the manufacturer has a hole there's gotta be a bolt. So you start getting out of service violations when you start losing bolts. So just glance underneath there and make sure they hadn't vibrated loose on you or anything, that they're actually there. You're good to go on the kingpin. Back here in the back, you should have both of your tail lights working like they are. You should have left turn signal, right turn signal, and your stop lights. And then we'll ask